Can you define minimalism?
Not by definition. Not by the intoxication that I'm on.
Can I define it for you?
Yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
Okay, minimalism is basically the bare essentials for survival. The opposite of being materialistic.
Okay.
Can a man be a minimalist and still be attractive to most modern women?
He should be able to, but the harsh reality, I don't feel like he is.
Don't women typically want a man to provide a luxurious lifestyle?
I would say for the most part, ideally, yes.
Do you find it ironic that many modern women complain about things like capitalism and climate change when most consumer spending is geared towards women?
That is a good point. As far as even whether it come to clothing, music, everything, it's women driven first. That's what's going to be the breadwinner right there.
How large is the carbon footprint of keeping modern Western women happy?
I would say it's fairly large.
I like men that are more minimalist. Like that's not high, like super shoppy. I like I like simple men.
Cause I'm the shoppy.
I want to be.
How large is the carbon footprint of keeping most modern Western women happy?
Wait, what? I don't even know what that means.
How large is the carbon footprint of keeping most modern Western women happy?
What the fuck is it?
I know when they say cars leave a carbon footprint. I don't know. I guess huge because we all need a lot of stuff.
Well, in other words, do you find it ironic that many modern women complain about climate change when most consumer spending is geared towards women?
Climate change.
That's what I was saying.
In other words, women are the largest consumers.
Oh, so it's our fault.
No.
The fucking planet science. See, this is what we're gonna
No, I'm just asking.
Actually, guys drive cars more than us.
It was banned for us to even drive cars in the beginning of time. Remember, they called us a witch if we knew how to drive a car.
Well, in Muslim countries, women still can't drive.
That sucks.
See,
that does suck.
it must be men.
It must be men. It's all man's world. It's a man's world.
Yeah, it's a man's world. It's his fault that we're gonna die.
Is there anything in society
Man made that car.
is there anything in society that's not blamed on men?
No, blame it on the man.
Yeah, it's his world. Blame it on him.
It's his world. Blame it on him.
If you have a woman that has had a silver spoon up their ass their whole life, it's going to be tough to please them. But if you have a woman that comes from nothing, it's going to be easy money.
Okay, but wouldn't you say that the majority of women still expect a man to be a provider?
Depends on what state you're from. Let's go to Oklahoma. It's 50-50. You got the silver spoons and you got the copper spoons. Silver spoon, you got to break your back, spend $200 a day. You got the copper spoon. Hey, let me make you something. Let me make you a bracelet, homemade. Let me write you a card. That makes them more happier than money.
Okay. What if we apply that to city girls?
I don't date city girls, country girls only.
Okay, what is the difference between city girls and country girls?
Oh my God. Well, a city girl can't go to the lake and drink beer all day, vodka, go sit by the bonfire that night and survive. A city girl goes to the bar, takes 2-3 shots, drinks a beer, and starts acting fucking silly. And they just, I don't know, dude. They're not country girls. Country girls are different breeds.
Why do so many women seem to be obsessed with luxury and status?
It's just how you're raised.
Is that natural or learned behavior?
It's learned behavior.
Why does this typically apply to city girls?
They're more out in the city in regards to in the country. I was come from the country, so not like how city girls are.
Okay.
They're more programmed. It's all an image.
Do you think people are more likely to be held accountable for bad behavior if they live in a small town as opposed to a big city?
Yes.
Why?
Because it's a small town. You're known around. So if you do one thing, you're going to do the next thing. They're going to know you to do these things. So in regards to a bigger city, people don't know you that much. You don't have that many people who know you in regards to a small city. So you're more pinpointed in a small town than a larger town because more people know you in a small town.
So would that mean that small town girls are better prospects for relationships?
Yes.
Than city girls?
Yes.
Wow, interesting, okay.
So if you're a city girl, you're used to seeing heels, you're used to seeing sparkle, you're used to seeing bling. If you're a country girl, you're used to seeing cowgirl boots and jeans and stuff like that. And it's just really the product of your environment.
Do you think people are more likely to be held accountable for their behavior if they live in a small town as opposed to a big city?
No, because I feel like if you have to be accountable for your behavior in your group. Like if you deal with a certain amount of people, those certain amount of people are gonna make you be accountable for your behavior.
I've lived in a big city and I've lived in a small town, and I feel like small towns, they're more like hostile and more like a little bit like
Because they know
aggressive, just because they know each other and it's so small. Everyone knows each other, everyone's in everyone's business, and it's more like you don't get that freedom like as in a big city. No one knows who you are. Like you just can go outside and no one's gonna even know who you are. If you're in a little city and you've been in like any situation, they're gonna know who you are and where you're from and everything about your story. And like
there is a status, there's a different type of standard and status. I mean, I grew up in a church. So.
Wouldn't that make girls from a small town better dating prospects?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you define chivalry?
I always thought of chivalry as a man just being like a gentleman.
Is chivalry dead?
I don't think so.
Is chivalry dead?
Yes, chivalry is very much dead. I feel guys feel very entitled that they don't have to do certain things because now they just, I don't know, because everybody's just becoming more
and it's just
equal.
different generations. So.
Why are men still expected to pay for the first date?
They're not expected. It's just nice.
It's a common courtesy.
You don't think that a lot of women would reject a second date after a guy doesn't pay the first time?
Yes, I've done that. I'm not gonna lie. I've done it just because you're inviting me out to a date, like you want to impress me. So yeah.
No, I get that.
I
but
guess
I'm
that's two different things. Because me personally, like, if your vibe's there and I genuinely want to go out with you as much as you wanted to go out with me, then if I had to pay for it, and it's different. Like if I really fucked with you, like I wouldn't mind going on a second date because at the end of the day, it's not about money. It's genuine. Like you know what I mean? It's genuine feelings and vibes.
She's
like
nicer than me. I wouldn't go on a second date.
Definitely like, opening the doors, different things like that. The whole traditional, lay your coat across a puddle. I'm not going to be doing that with my coat, but yeah, traditionally.
Is chivalry dead?
In a sense, yes. I do feel like it's dead, but men can't be fully to blame of that. I feel like women, certain women, based on their standards and how they present themselves and what they bring to the table with that, they've kind of diminished it in their own selves.
Doesn't chivalry mean that manhood is often defined as a servitude to women?
To a certain degree. I mean, because as far as a man, I mean, if you're in that situation with a lady, and head of the family or a household, then you're definitely going to playing a part of that. You're definitely going to please your lady and do whatever is comfortable for her.
Why are men still expected to pay for the first date?
That is a good question. I mean, I would like to have the answer to that myself.
Okay, is womanhood defined as a servitude to men?
On a first date, a man should pay, but
that's what I'm saying. Why are men still expected to pay for first dates if chivalry isn't a servitude to women?
it's the way the world makes us be.
Okay. Is womanhood defined as a servitude to men?
No.
So once again, why are we talking about male privilege when society has always been chivalrous to women?
I do not know.
Does chivalry mean that manhood is often defined as a servitude to women?
I don't think it has to mean that, but I think there are some people that could define it as that.
Okay, well, why are men still expected to pay for dates?
I don't expect them to pay for dates.
But men often are, though, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay. Is womanhood defined as a servitude to men?
I don't think so.
So why are we talking about male privilege when society has always been chivalrous to women?
You make a good point.
Men shouldn't be expected to do that just because they're a man. I feel like the generation that we're living in now should be actually back more down to a humble, equal position. Men shouldn't have to provide. What if the woman is the breadwinner?
Right.
Back to the team thing, it's all a part of a position. I mean, of course, men financially, but women, they have their own ways as far as even just maintaining the castle while you're at work. You know what I'm saying? Different things like that.
So why are we talking about male privilege when society has always been chivalrous to women?
I don't know.
Would you agree that women hold sex as leverage over men?
Sometimes.
What do men hold as leverage over women?
Probably power, strength.
Okay, a lot of people say money. Don't modern women have their own money?
I think they do. I have my own money.
More importantly, When men have money, aren't they expected to be providers and give away their power?
I think society expects them to be like that.
So why are we talking about male privilege when women have exclusive power over men? In other words, women control exclusive access to sex. Do men control exclusive access to money?
I mean, I do agree that there is woman privilege as there is male privilege. I just think that we each have different privileges.
Would you agree that a healthy sex life is part of a person's well-being?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I feel like even just not just in a relationship, but for that person, you know, it's a sense of relief, and it's also, you know, a place of connection too with that significant other or whatever the case may be.
Okay. Why is it when it comes to healthcare, people think it should be a right, but when it comes to sex, it should be a privilege?
That is a very deep question.
I mean, aren't they both part of a person's well-being?
Yes, yeah, I definitely agree.
Why are they both so unaffordable?
You know, that is a great question. I mean, I do feel like healthcare should be just affordable.
Why is it when it comes to healthcare, people think it should be a right, but when it comes to sex, it should be a privilege? I mean, aren't they both part of a person's well-being?
Yeah, but I would say that sex is more of a not necessity. It's more of a pleasure. You know?
Okay.
You don't actually need it, but...
Well, right, but I mean, a lack of sex can lead to depression and suicide, shit like that, right?
Absolutely, but I mean, you just gotta be strong-minded to get through it. I mean, like a real sickness, you can't just say, oh yeah, I'm gonna just get through it, because, you know.
True, but not all healthcare is life-threatening either, right?
Yeah, true. But I would just say, you know, actual sickness versus, you know, sex is...
Okay. Why are they both so unaffordable?
Shit, I don't know, man. Pussy is expensive, dude.
Would you agree that a healthy sex life is part of a person's well-being?
Yes.
Ever heard of the term sexually frustrated?
Yes.
Why is it when it comes to healthcare, people think it should be a right, but when it comes to sex, it should be a privilege? I mean, aren't they both part of a person's well-being?
I just think that sex is kind of still shameful in our society.
What do you mean?
I mean, I feel like a lot of people aren't very like sex positive. They don't like talking about it. So I think that can tie into it.
Okay. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, I mean, obviously sex work is seen as real work, so, you know, why should we regulate what doctors charge, but we can't regulate what sex workers charge if they're both related to a person's mental well-being?
That's a good question. I mean, I agree with you there.
Okay. What is the difference between shaming somebody versus holding them accountable, and why are they often confused?
Shaming someone or holding someone accountable. When holding someone accountable to me says you signed up for a role, you have a duty and responsibility to that, and your partner's going to hold you accountable to that. Or you stepped into a business with someone, you said you were going to do these things, we're holding you accountable to this. Shaming someone is then bashing them for not holding up their duty or responsibility.
How is it possible to hold somebody accountable when they can always play the victim?
I think being a victim or having a victim mindset stops a person from being accountable, for one, because even if someone did victimize us, in all cases, some things like children being mistreated, that was no, they didn't put themselves in that position. It's up to the parents to protect them. But let's say an adult who stays in a relationship that is unhealthy, that adult has to be held accountable. You knew that it was unhealthy, you knew these things, but you continued to stay. So everything that occurred after that point was your decision to stay there. So there's a self-accountability that has to take place. You can't just say, oh, this person did this and made me this way, but you chose to stay there. You had a choice. You didn't have to stay.
You know, if they have the humility to take criticism and things like that, then it shouldn't be labeled as shameful. You know, it's more so constructive, if anything. But I do feel like the reason why that it gets blurred is because of just pride in different positions. And it also is a two-way street. You know, it also depends on how it's presented as well as how it's received. So.
How is it possible to hold somebody accountable when they can always play the victim?
feel like in any case, someone can always pull that victim flag. But if it's something that you've, taken on as a full responsibility and accountability for yourself, and it only labels on you, I mean, that's something that you gotta man or woman up to and take accountability of. I mean, it's as simple as that. If you don't have your word, then what do you have at the end of the day?
So doesn't accountability ultimately start with yourself?
Yes, absolutely.
Holding yourself accountable.
Yeah, absolutely. You hold yourself accountable, and that goes further. I tell people all the time, you can't point fingers at nobody unless your hands are clean as well, and that you good on your side.